Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. So today, just want to give an update. So these days I am dating my videos in the video just simply because of how information is changing. So today is March 23rd, 2020. Okay, so just in case somebody sees these things out of order, that you can know when the video was and when this information is relevant. Okay, because even amid this whole coronavirus thing, there are still things in the work. There are still things that are moving and fluid, and what was true yesterday may not be true today and may not even be true tomorrow. So let's talk about the federal extension. So the IRS made their official statement on Friday, and I think it actually showed up on their website on Saturday about extending the federal deadline. So the federal filing deadline is now July 15th, 2020, along with the federal payment deadline. Previously, just the payment for tax liability was extended to July 15th. Now filing is also extended. And so that means that you don't have to file an extension or anything like that. You automatically have until July 15th to file your taxes. After that, that's when you'll get the failure to file penalty, the failure to pay penalty, those types of penalties, and interest will start accruing on July 16th. And so it also says this, that no extension is provided in this notice for the payment or deposit of any other type of federal tax or for the filing of any federal information return. So I got a lot of questions about S Corps and partnerships. That was not extended because S Corps and partnerships were due on March 16th. The original extension, I do believe, started on March 18th. Don't quote me on that date, but that's the thing. So S Corps and partnerships, if you did not file an extension by March 16th and you didn't file your taxes, the clock is ticking because you will be having those failure to file penalties. So the statement also says that as a result of the postponement of the due date for the federal income tax returns and making federal income tax payments from April 15th, 2020 to July 2020, the period on those same dates will be disregarded in any calculation of interest, penalty, or addition to tax for failure to file federal income tax returns or pay the federal income taxes postponed by this notice. So that basically is saying that you're not going to get charged penalties and interest until starting July 16th. Now, while that's cute, the states are making their own decisions. So for our states that have income tax, you have to look to the state to see what they're doing because not all of them are going to be following this guideline. And keep in mind that your states generally take your information from your federal tax return. So even though the federal tax deadline, filing deadline may be moved to July 15th, not everybody is doing that. So you have to check with the individual states to see what they're doing. Some states are waiving penalties and interest. They're waiving penalties like the failure to file penalty and the failure to pay penalty until July, but that interest is going to accrue starting April 15th. There are some states who have delayed their interest, for like 30 days. So you've got all these different states and all these different rules. So you have to know what state rule applies because even though that federal filing may be moved to July 15th, that doesn't mean you necessarily have that luxury based on your state. Okay. So you've got to look and see what the state is doing so that you can file on time for the state, which means you may be filing your federal return before July. But also, when we're talking about delaying tax payments and everything to July, you still gotta do some planning, right? Because you got the rest of the year coming. That doesn't mean that all the other tax payments after July are going to be postponed. So you still need to do some planning with your finances, with your taxes. and definitely keep in touch with the IRS, if none of this changes. So again, this is very fluid. Will there be other changes in the future? I have no idea. Like the magic 8 ball has just left the building. The other thing I want to touch on briefly, two other things I want to touch on briefly. So the next thing is about the stimulus checks. Okay. So again, as of March 23rd, the stimulus package has still not been approved. That legislation has not been passed. So right now there are no stimulus checks. Okay. They have not been agreed upon. I saw someone post where, the stimulus checks are expected to be delivered next week. It hasn't been passed yet. So this is why I shared a post that I don't talk about these things until the legislation is actually passed, just simply because there's so much wrong information out there. And, and again, it's changing so much. So just because, right now it says that one person can get this much and that person can that, all of that can change. Okay. So I just encourage everyone to be patient on that while Congress works that out, because none of us are in charge of Congress and they're playing in their own sandbox. And until they come up with something that they can agree upon, it won't be there. It's nothing, right? It's all just speculation until the legislation is actually passed. So as of March 23rd, we still don't have a stimulus package. There is also for small business owners, to include sole proprietors, there are disaster loans available at the Small Business Administration. Now, you got to have, they're going to be looking at your tax returns. They're going to be looking at they're going to be asking how much money have you made and all of that stuff in your business. So if you don't have any type of bookkeeping in place, I'll bet you now is a really, really good time so that you really understand how your business is doing. The loans, they are available again for all business types, from sole proprietors to S corps, partnerships, all of that stuff, all those different types of business structures. There are small business loans available. They not guaranteed, they are available. Let me make sure I'm clear on that at the Small Business Administration, and I'll provide a link for that. But you're going to need to be able to, show your tax returns, and you're going to have to also sign a form that allows them to pull your transcript. So even though you are, like I said, you may be a sole proprietor and it's on your personal return, they're going to pull those transcripts. So it's not like you can just go and falsify some information on a return and send it to them. They're going to be pulling your transcripts to make sure that they match. Okay. There's going to be always somebody trying to game the government to get some money. So I'm just telling you right now, they're going to be pulling those transcripts to make sure that it matches. So if you are a business owner and you have unfiled returns, you might want to get her done if you are planning to apply for one of those loans. So the loans are low interest. The short story is that the interest is not to exceed 4% and payment terms not to exceed 30 years. That does not mean that you're going to get 30 years to pay back a loan. It just depends on if you're approved, how much you're approved for, that kind of thing. So just know that it's there for businesses that need it. And so I think that is it. And also, I want to get back to this filing for just a moment. One of the things that you also need to do as taxpayers, they've already said if you're expecting a refund, you need to go ahead and file your taxes. But it says generally. Generally is such a funny word. Let me see if I can find it in here, where it says that generally, refunds are being processed and released within 21 days. Generally, again, if you wind up having to verify your identity and your income and expenses, that 21 days may not apply to you. Just know that going in as well. So yeah, that's really the latest. Okay. And so if you do a refund, go ahead and get your taxes filed. If you have a tax liability, you still want to go ahead and get your taxes filed, because if you have, up until July to get your tax bill paid interest free, penalty free, that's basically some free months that you can get your tax bill paid. And I would encourage you to do that to the best of your ability. And the same for your states, whatever your states is allowing for additional time, if they are allowing additional time, based on interest and penalties, really take some time to figure that out so that you can make a plan that is going to work for you financially and not cost you any more money than what it needs to. But yeah, so for the feds, you got until July. So don't wait until July. Oh heavens, please don't wait until July and then file an extension and you file in 2019 and 2020 at the same time. That's just going to be too much. Okay. So I would still tell you to operate on a normal timeline. Find out what the damage is, right? Find out how much you owe, if you're going to owe anything, if you can pay that. And then you want to pay down as much as you can before the penalties and interest start to accrue. And then after that, you still have the tax resolution steps to follow, but still you got to get those taxes filed. So like I said, even though that filing deadline has been extended, I really encourage you to not wait that long, because if you continue to kick that can down the road, it's only going to be a bigger, a bigger mess, more confusion. So that's just my advice. Do what you like. That's your decision to make. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right, have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.